Good morning, class. Our topic for today is the causes and effects of World War II. Class, I would like you to do this small activity, a small icebreaker. We'll play Simon Says. Okay, let's start. Simon says hands up. Simon says hands down. Simon says shake your head. Stop. Simon says stop. Okay, thank you. That was just to get your attention drawn to the lesson today. Now, I'll ask you a few questions about World War II. Do any of you present here knows when did World War II start? Or which countries fought World War II? Yes? No? Okay, never mind. Now I want you to watch this small YouTube video about the World War II and take important notes.
Global war that took place from 1939 to 1945. The majority of the world's countries, including all the great powers, eventually formed two opposing military alliances, the Allies and the Axis, involving more than 100 million people from more than 30 countries. World War II was the deadliest conflict in human history, with 70 to 85 million casualties, most of whom were civilians in the Soviet Union and China. It included massacres, genocide, Holocaust, bombing, starvation and disease, and the only use of nuclear weapons in war. Japan, which aimed to dominate Asia and Pacific, was at war with China by 1937. World War II began on September 1st, 1939, with the invasion of Poland by the Germans and subsequent declarations of war on Germany by France and the United Kingdom. From late 1939 to early 1941, in a series of campaigns and treaties, Germany conquered or controlled much of continental Europe and formed the Axis alliance with Italy and Japan. Under the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact of August 1939, Germany and the Soviet Union partitioned and annexed territories of their European neighbors, Poland, Finland, Romania, and the Baltic states. Following the onset of campaigns in North Africa and East Africa, and the fall of France in mid-1940, the war continued primarily between the European Axis powers and the British Empire. War in the Balkans, the aerial Battle of Britain, the Blitz, and the Long Battle of the Atlantic followed. On June 22, 1941, the European Axis powers launched an invasion of the Soviet Union, opening the largest land theater of war in history. This Eastern Front trapped the Axis, most crucially the German Wehrmacht, in a battle of attrition. In December 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on the United States, as well as European colonies in the Pacific. The U.S. immediately declared war against Japan, supported by one from Great Britain. The European Axis powers quickly declared war on the U.S. in solidarity with their Japanese ally. Rapid Japanese conquest over much of the Western Pacific. The Axis advance in the Pacific halted in 1942 when Japan lost the critical Battle of Midway. Later, Germany and Italy were defeated in North Africa, and then decisively at Stalingrad in the Soviet Union. Key setbacks in 1943, which included a series of German defeats on the Eastern Front, the Allied invasions of Sicily and Italy, and Allied victories in the Pacific, cost the Axis its initiative and forced it into strategic retreat on all fronts. In 1944, the Western Allies invaded German-occupied France, while the Soviet Union regained its territorial losses and turned toward Germany and its allies. During 1944 and 1945, the Japanese suffered major reverses in mainland Asia, in central China, South China, and Burma, while the Allies crippled the Japanese Navy and captured key Western Pacific islands. The war in Europe concluded with an invasion of Germany by the Western Allies and the Soviet Union, culminating in the capture of Berlin by Soviet troops, the suicide of Adolf Hitler, and the German unconditional surrender on May 8, 1945. Following the Potsdam Declaration by the Allies on July 26, 1945, and the refusal of Japan to surrender under its terms, the United States dropped atomic bombs on the Japanese cities on Hiroshima and Nagasaki on August 6th and 9th, respectively. With an invasion of the Japanese archipelago imminent, the possibility of additional atomic bombings, the Soviet entry into the war against Japan, and its invasion of Manchuria, Japan announced its intention to surrender on August 15, 1945, cementing total victory in Asia for the Allies. Tribunals were set up by the Allies, and war crimes trials were conducted in the wake of the war War II changed the political alignment and social structure of the world. The United Nations, or UN, was established to foster international cooperation and prevent future conflicts. The Soviet Union and the United States emerged as rival superpowers, setting the stage for the nearly half-century-long Cold War. Wikipedia.com is...
Okay class, I hope you got some idea about World War II from this video. Now I will give out your lesson notes for today and we'll discuss this now. Okay, as you know, our topic for today is the causes and effects of World War II. The World War II began on September 1st, 1939 and ended in 1945. The war took place between the Axis powers Italy, Germany, Japan, and the Allied powers France, Britain, Soviet Union, China. The causes of World War II. The Treaty of Versailles was one of the causes of World War II. What was Treaty of Versailles? Treaty of Versailles was an agreement made by the victorious countries for Germany to sign and follow. The Treaty of Versailles has a number of clauses that were not in Germany's favor. For example, all of Germany's territories were given away. Germany was supposed to pay reparation to the affected countries, and Germany was not allowed to have a large military. The other cause of World War II was the Great Depression. The Great Depression is when the whole world suffered from economic depression. Banks were closed down, schools closed down, there was a huge reduction in employment rate, and Germany were already facing the aftermath of World War I, and the Great Depression had a lot of impact on it. Therefore, the Germans chose the Nazi party, led by Adolf Hitler, to lead the Germany, and in return, Hitler promised that he'll restore the wealth and power to Germany. The other cause of World War II is militarism. Militarism is when a country strengthens its military and weapons to use in war against other nations. Germany and Japan had started to strengthen its militaries and used it when Germany invaded Poland and Japan invaded China. The League of Nations was another cause of World War II. The League of Nations was an organization set up to maintain world peace after World War I. The League of Nations was a good idea, but it did not work in reality, as the League of Nations had not enough army and not a lot of countries joined the League of Nations. The organization failed to play its part when Italy invaded Ethiopia and Japan invaded China. Okay class, those were the causes of World War II. Now we'll move on to the effects. One of the major effects of World War II was death casualties. Nearly 75 million people died, of which 45 million were civilians and 20 million were military personnel. 6 million Jewish were killed in a German Holocaust. Another cause of effects of World War II was economic change. The GDP of most of the countries had decreased after World War II, but the private sectors were starting to increase as the government had stopped spending money on buying ammunition and hiring soldiers. The factories that were once making bombs and missiles were now making toasters, ovens, and sandwich makers, and the demand for these electrical items were increasing. The other effect of World War II was loss of sovereignty. France and Britain had lost their title as superpowers of the world, and USA and Russia were the new superpowers of the world. France and Britain had also lost most of its territories through USA and the Soviet Union. USA and Soviet Union became superpowers and will later go on to fight the Cold War. Okay. So class, now I'll give you some activities based on our lesson for today. And I want you to divide yourselves into 2 groups and answer these activities, and we'll discuss it together afterwards. Okay, I guess most of you have done the activities now. So the first question for the activity, what is Great Depression? Great Depression was a severe economic depression worldwide in 1930s, which affected countries such as Germany, Britain, France, USA. The Great Depression led to reduction in unemployment and closure of banks and businesses. The second question was, what is Holocaust? Holocaust refers to slaughter or destruction of mass scale, especially caused by fire or other nuclear war. For example, 6 million Jewish were killed alive in a German Holocaust. The German troops killed 6 million Jewish alive. Okay, the last question was, when did the World War II begin? The World War II began in 1939. And which countries fought the World War II? France, Britain, Russia, USA, Germany, Italy, and China. Okay, class. Those were the activities for today. I hope you guys learned something. Now I'll give out your essay homework that you need to complete it and bring it to the next class. The essay question is, discuss what are some of the causes and effects associated with World War II. I'll give you your handouts and you can answer them in your spare time. Okay class, so that generally brings us to the end of our lesson for today, and I hope you learned something about World War II, and if you have further questions or clarifications, you can come and ask me.